European leaders are bracing for United States tariffs after President Donald Trump announced sweeping levies on Mexico, Canada and China that would affect billions of dollars worth of trade, stirring global markets and currencies. Trump said the tariffs against the three largest U.S. trading partners, which take effect on Tuesday, might cause Americans some short-term pain, but long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world.
A tariff of 10% on China based on the fact that they're sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada.
How soon on those tariffs?
Probably February 1st is the date we're looking at. For Mexico and China, we're talking about approximately 25%.
As of Monday, Trump has announced that the tariffs on Mexico will be delayed for a month, while the Mexican government supplies 10,000 soldiers to stem the flow of fentanyl into the United States. I just spoke with President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico. It was a very friendly conversation wherein she agreed to immediately supply 10,000 Mexican soldiers on the border, separating Mexico from the United States. These soldiers will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal migrants into our country. We further agreed to immediately pause the anticipated tariffs for a one-month period, during which we will have negotiations headed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, and high-level representatives of Mexico. I look forward to participating in those negotiations with President Sheinbaum as we attempt to achieve a deal between our two countries. Speaking at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida on Sunday, Trump indicated that the 27-nation European Union will be next in the firing line, but did not say when. The United States is the EU's largest trade and investment partner and has consistently imported more goods than it has exported to the bloc. The US goods trade deficit stood at €155.8 billion, or $161.6 billion, in 2023, according to Eurostat data.
It will definitely happen with the European Union, I can tell you that, because they've really taken advantage of us. And, we have over a $300 billion deficit. They don't take our cars, they don't take our farm products, they take almost nothing. And we take everything from them, millions of cars, tremendous amounts of food and farm products. I think that one can be worked out. But the European Union it's an atrocity, what they've done.
EU leaders meeting at an informal summit in Brussels on Monday said Europe would be prepared to fight back if the US imposes tariffs, but also called for reason and negotiation. Arriving at the talks, French President Emmanuel Macron said that if the EU were attacked in its commercial interests, it would have to make itself respected and react. He added that recent declarations from the United States were pushing Europe to be stronger and more united. It's simple. We think that the priority is the strategic agenda and the security of our borders. If we're attacked on trade topics, as a power that holds, Europe has to make itself respected and react. Economists said the Republican president's plan to impose 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% tariffs on China would slow global growth and drive prices higher for Americans. Trump says they are needed to curb immigration and narcotics trafficking and spur domestic industries. Trump's tariffs will cover almost half of US imports and would require the United States to more than double its own manufacturing output to cover the gap, an unfeasible task in the near term, ING analysts wrote. Other analysts said the tariffs could throw Canada and Mexico into recession and trigger stagflation, high inflation, stagnant growth, and elevated unemployment at home. In Europe, economists at Deutsche Bank said they were currently factoring in a 0.5% hit to gross domestic product should Trump impose 10% tariffs on the bloc.
NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer stressed the need for increased defense spending in the alliance amid the continuing war in Ukraine and a more volatile world. Speaking at a news conference in Brussels on Monday, Rutte said investing in defense industries is an absolute must.
To put it in another way, to prevent war, we must spend more. The UK understands this instinctively. You have long met the 2% target, and I welcome plans to further increase investments in defense. Because in a more dangerous world, 2% will not be enough to keep us safe. We need to invest considerably more. We also need to replenish our stocks, and fast. There's no time to waste. Reviving our defense industries to ramp up defense production is an absolute must.
Starmer, who is in Brussels to attend a European Union leaders meeting, the first attended by a UK leader since the UK left the bloc 5 years ago, is seeking to rebuild ties with the EU while avoiding tariffs from protectionist Trump. Speaking alongside Rutte on Monday before the EU dinner, Starmer said the UK would not have to choose between Europe and the United States, saying, "It's important that we work with both sets of partners, particularly at this volatile time."
That it's important that we work with both sets of partners, particularly this volatile time, where I think it's generally accepted and rightly accepted that we face a more volatile world now than we have done for many decades. So now is the time to step up on all fronts with both the US and the EU. It is not the time to pull back on either front.
Trump's trade battles complicate Starmer's aim of a reset with the EU after years of bitterness over Brexit. Rutte, meanwhile, said there were always issues between allies, but was absolutely convinced it will not get in the way of our collective determination to keep our deterrence strong.
This is a geopolitical thing playing out at the moment with Ukraine, and therefore Ukraine must prevail not only for Ukraine's sake, first of all, but also because of the geopolitical impact. And for NATO as a whole, collectively, we are 20 times bigger than the Russian economy. Collectively, we are able to protect the collective NATO territory, including the US. And the US is also under threat now with the long-range nuclear long-range missiles coming out of North Korea maybe in the future, thanks to all the technology the Russians are delivering. So for so many reasons, we have to stay connected. I'm a staunch transatlanticist. I absolutely believe that the best thing the West can do is to stay united. And I know that the same thinking is still prevalent in the US, including in the White House.
Euro-American relations have been growing increasingly tense in recent months. Donald Trump has accused the EU of freeloading off American defense and exploiting the US in trade. The UK, particularly Starmer's government, has itself been the center of controversy, with the eruption of the grooming gang scandal primarily exposed on Elon Musk's platform X, formerly Twitter, as well as accusations of authoritarianism and past unfriendliness toward Donald Trump. Perhaps, then, what could bring them all together, absent warm feelings, could be simple geopolitical calculus.
This year's Grammy Awards ceremony served as a love letter to host city Los Angeles following the devastating wildfires that scarred a hub of the music business. Music stars from around the globe performed their latest hits to an A-list crowd on Sunday, February 2nd, at the 67th Grammy Awards in Los Angeles. The prestigious awards ceremony was opened with a performance by the Goldsmith Brothers with their band Dawes, dedicated to the city of LA, following devastating wildfires which have claimed the homes of many in the music industry, including their own home and record studio. Singer Chappelle Roan rode a giant pink pony as clowns danced below during her performance of Pink Pony Club, while singer Billie Eilish took to a minimalist stage for her song Birds of a Feather. Wicked actress Cynthia Erivo gave an elegant piano duet to pay tribute to music legend Quincy Jones, performing a catalog of classic songs including Fly Me to the Moon. Benson Boone, Sabrina Carpenter, and Bruno Mars were also among the performers at the star-studded event.
As selected by the 13,000 voting members of the Recording Academy, the Grammy goes to Cowboy Carter.
Beyoncé won Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter at Sunday's Grammys, winning the show's elusive top award. The superstar, who is both the most awarded and nominated artist in Grammy's history, has been up for the category 4 times before, and many feel she has been snubbed by its top honors. The superstar hip-hop singer said she was in shock to take the country award for her first venture into the genre, Members of the Los Angeles Fire Department presented Beyoncé with the trophy, one of several times the show reflected the recent wildfires that burned thousands of homes.
Thank and acknowledge and praise all of the firefighters for keeping us safe. I just feel very full and very honored. It's been many, many years. And I just want to thank the Grammys, every songwriter, every collaborator, every producer, all of the hard work. I want to dedicate this to Miss Martell, and I hope we just keep pushing forward.
In winning Album of the Year with Cowboy Carter, Beyoncé has become the first Black woman to win the top prize in the 21st century. The last was Lauryn Hill with the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill 26 years ago. Before her was Natalie Cole and Whitney Houston. That means Beyoncé is only the fourth Black woman to win Album of the Year at the Grammys. Kendrick Lamar won Song and Record of the Year for his diss track, Not Like Us, taking home two of the night's most prestigious awards.
We're gonna dedicate this one to the city. Compton, Watts, yeah. Long Beach, Inglewood, Hollywood, out to the Valley, Pacoima, IE, San Bernardino, all that.
It is the second hip-hop single to ever win in the category. The first was Childish Gambino's This Is America.
Schools remained shut and additional flights were scheduled to help people leave the Greek island of Santorini on Monday as dozens of tremors shook the popular holiday destination for a fourth day. Aegean Airlines said it would operate 3 additional flights to and from Santorini on Monday and Tuesday to facilitate the travel of residents and visitors upon a request by Greece's Civil Protection Ministry. Hundreds of people were seen at the island's port boarding a ferry, while lines formed ticket agents. 35-year-old Sanzis Lignos said the quakes had traumatized the island, and he and his family were leaving. For 3 days now, there have been earthquakes the whole time. Every 5 minutes, it is continuous. They don't stop at all. The entire island is traumatized. We have been looking for tickets for 3 days now, but we could not find any for the ferries or the airplanes. They didn't exist. Last night, when we tried to book a ticket, the last one was gone. There was nothing. Planes were all booked. They put on some extra flights, but the tickets were really expensive. They have reached 300 to 350 euros per person. You can't find seats. Luckily, we found boat tickets for me, my wife, and the children. Santorini resident Zoe Lignou said she was going to the nearby island of Naxos for a few days until things calmed down. There are constant earthquakes. It is intense. We feel it. We have been patient for 3 days, but today was the worst, so we said we will leave for as many days as it takes to calm down. So we're going to Naxos, where we have relatives. Tremors have been recorded between the volcanic islands of Santorini and Amorgos in the Aegean Sea since Friday, forcing authorities to close schools in Santorini and the nearby islands of Los, Amorgos and Anafi. Quakes, some of the magnitude above 4, rattled Santorini every few minutes on Monday as people were advised to stay out of indoor spaces and small ports. Disaster response units were deployed on the ground as a precaution. Experts have said that the seismic activity on the island, some of whose most populated areas are perched on steep cliffs, will continue for weeks. Local officials said that permanent residents were not particularly worried as they have been used to quake, but some who were on the island for work were moving out. Greece sits on multiple fault lines and is often rattled by earthquakes. One of the largest volcanic eruptions in history, around 1600 BC, formed Santorini in its current shape. The last eruption in the area occurred in 1950. Experts said a mild volcanic activity also recorded near Santorini in recent days was not linked to the quakes.